Hey there everybody. This is a continuation of my video about sacrifice. Um, I thought I'd share this with you because I think it's very interesting. Not to mention, I think it's something that we all need to know and understand because, as a wise woman once said, no human behavior is more hidden and misunderstood than offering sacrifice, both animal and human. Um, Basically what I want to discuss here is a little bit about blood sacrifice. Blood sacrifice is probably one of the most unique ways to do a sacrifice because it not only can include human sacrifice, it can also include animal sacrifice, and it can also include just cutting yourself and donating a little bit of your blood to the sacrifice. There's always been cultures throughout history that have made sacrifices to uh, their gods, their deities, idols, however you'd like to put it, um, in order to please them and to gain favor from them. There were many times throughout the Bible that sacrificial offerings were made to God. In most cases, a virgin lamb was used. Um, also, you have the story of Cain and Abel, where Abel was used as a blood sacrifice and found the favor of God, and Cain used vegetables and did not find favor with God. So Cain got jealous and killed Abel. Um, there's also Abraham in the Bible, and this is just only one of them. You also have the Aztecs, who were very big on human and animal sacrifice. It was an integral part of their religion. They had many bloodthirsty gods that needed to be pleased. As they saw it, the offering of blood through human sacrifice ensured the perpetuation of the universe. Spanish observers found the practice utterly revolting, for Aztecs would take their victims, make them lay perfectly still, while the high priest took a stone knife and cut out their heart. If you actually want to see something like this, if I'm not mistaken, I think you might be able to find it in like 10,000 BC or Apocalypto or something like that. It's in one of those movies. Um, the biggest thing is that when it comes to blood sacrifice, um, in the ancient days, the ultimate sacrifice was said to be that of a virgin young boy. However, the main thing that we always hear about is a young virgin woman. So there, depending on the regions where you were at, depended on not only the religious belief system that was there, but also um, what was encompassed in it. So also, along with that, you also have to consider the ritual sacrifice. Um, Ritual sacrifices, or just sacrifices in general, really, um, used to be performed on a regular basis according to established patterns of daily, monthly, or seasonal acts, or on special occasions, most notably an important time in an individual's life, such as birth, puberty, marriage, or death, and in the face of extraordinary conditions, as I mentioned in my first video when I was talking about earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The purpose of the act is either to establish or sustain a proper relationship with deity. Sacrifices are simply to express homage and veneration, or they may give thanks for good fortune. Um, you can find information about sacrifice all throughout history. You can find it in with the Celts. You can find it in the Romans. Um, there are some cultures out there that used to take virgins and throw it into a volcano. If I'm not mistaken, they used to do it in Hawaii uh, to appease the volcanic goddess. Um, there really is a lot to it. and there's more to it than any one video would ever be able to talk about. One of the other parts that goes along with sacrifice, um, like I said, is about the supernatural assistance with something. Um, Human sacrifice in particular usually required the exchange of a life, willingly or not, in return for supernatural assistance or for a greater cause. Um, exactly where we draw the line between altruism and coercion is not always clear, as a surviving account of a Viking's funeral in Russia in AD 921-922. This is actually, I'm reading you an excerpt at this point, because I thought that it was worth talking about. The dead man's slave girls were asked who wished to die with him. One volunteered to be burned in his ship with him. When she went to her death, the men began to strike with the sticks on the shield so that her cries could not be heard, and the other slave girls would not be frightened and seek to escape death with their masters. A dagger was plunged between her ribs repeatedly, and then men strangled her with the cord until she was dead. The flames grew and engulfed the pyre and the ship. Human sacrifice has been around for thousands and thousands of years. Um, there's also, you have to consider mass sacrifice as well. Um, the largest mass sacrifice was actually, on record anyway, in an African kingdom called Kerma, which was established around 1500 BC. And what they were doing was 500 people at a time were being buried in huge grave pits to the dead king and were covered by a large mound. Now, most notably, the biggest two things that most people can think about when it comes to human sacrifice is what happened with the royal tombs of the Shang dynasty in China, where they sacrificed their bodies, and in around the 2nd century BC, workers and soldiers were buried in the tomb of the first Chinese emperor, and in addition, he was provided with an otherworldly army of terracotta substitute soldiers. You also have to consider the Egyptians, which used to sacrifice themselves to be with their pharaohs, whether they were willing or not. They would actually either be buried alive in their own separate rooms in the pyramids or outside of them. And also there were also soldiers, handmaids and such, that would actually be standing guard, who would take a decent amount of poison and sacrifice themselves so that they could be with their pharaoh in the next life. So I think I'm going to leave it at that at this point, because I don't want to take this and make it too controversial. But I thought maybe a little bit of history on the subject would be a little safer than talking about how it plays into religion today. So I hope you all enjoyed this. This is Lady Silver Vixen, and I'm signing out for now.